Welcome back to Pocket DIY. Here today we are putting a light bar on my truck. And basically I want the lights to recess into the cavity right here. I don't have cutouts where a lot of trucks have them right here to put fog lights in. So I have decided to build a rail. Basically I just got some punched angle and bolted the brackets for the lights onto and put nuts on it onto this angle here. And now I'm gonna put it inside here, and that's gonna be the retainer rail to hold the lights. Now I'm about to make some spacers to put in between here and put bolts in it so that I hold the rail there, then I can mount my lights. So look forward to the next clip. Drilled a hole here, and I drilled a hole here, which is my pallet holes. And then I just measured this outside to give me an approximate to line this up. And then I used one of my spacers here to just measure down to where I wanted the hole. So they're pretty much close. Perfect? Probably not. But they do have adjustments on the light brackets. I don't think it has to be perfect. You, again, can adjust the light brackets to get your lights adjusted. And that's something you need to do anyway. So, anyway, that is the procedure there. I'm about to open these holes up to be able to put these carriage through bolts through. They're going to come through. They'll be on the outside. Then I'll put the spacer on. I'll put the bar on. And I will show you in just a minute what that looks like. Alright. Now when you're drilling through this, make sure you're not running into any radiators or any condensers or any kind of wiring. So check back behind your bumper area that you're drilling. Last thing you want to do is go and tear up something that's working just fine, like an AC condenser. So anyway, be back for more. Okay, so I got the mounts mounted. I will come back in and paint this later. It's galvanized or zinc plated, so it's going to be fine for a while, but it will end up needing to be painted. Anyway, these little Baja lights have little Phillips head screws that go in there, and you just basically put them in there, and then they're adjustable, and you tighten them up. So we're about to mount this into the hole where I have my bolts and spacers. All right, got this on. It took me a little bit of finagling. My choice of bolts were some self-tappers back in the back here. And I will tell you that if you're lining any of these bolts up with this bolt here, it's going to run into it on the other side. That's why these are pointed upward, but they don't affect the light in any way. But I got a through bolt going through here, a carriage bolt, and then I have it spaced out with PVC pipe, and then I have a nut on the back side of that. I don't know if you can see it. Okay. So anyway, I think anybody that has some common sense would understand the concept there. I'm putting a nut on the back side of that to hold that. But that bar, that piece of angle is solid. It's mounted to this, all solid. Now I'm just going to adjust my height on these and tighten these up where I want them. Of course, they will also tilt down a little bit so I can get, I don't know, about 10 foot away from the front of the truck before they hit the ground. I don't want them pointing up in the sky, obviously, or anybody's eyes. I don't want them pointing down too far towards the ground in front of me to where I don't even see them. But I also have to wire them up. The cool thing about this kit, and I'm going to try to put a link on this kit if I could find it, or a similar kit. So you could click on the link and go to Amazon and purchase this kit for adding to your to your project. But it's pretty much everything's just plug in. For the switch, the lights, it has a simple instruction manual on what to plug into what. and then you just route it back through to the inside so you have a toggle switch. Okay, I went ahead and tightened them up. Basically I have one slightly tilted downhill, a little bit more, that's this one, and the other one's a little bit more forward. That way I get a little bit of light up front and a little farther away. So anyway, again, I meant to mention earlier in another clip, okay, I'm back for just a moment. Here is the instructions or schematic for two lights. They are running, they each have their own positive, their own ground, and so that would be considered parallel versus in series. So you run a positive white to the white, and then the blacks to the ground. Oh, I'm sorry. It's actually on this one, it's a red to the white, a red to the white. Blacks should be ground. So it should be a ground setup going down to the ground somewhere. And then you got the positive for the battery going through a fuse to terminal 1, which is a blue wire. A blue wire coming from the battery through a fusible link to a blue wire. Okay. A red wire on 2 that provides your whites, and then this 3 goes to ground. Pretty straightforward. Okay, so that's that, and then here's my wiring harness. I already wired this up to test it to make sure the lights work. So looking at the switch, I don't know which one was 3, but let's see. That's actually it right there. So you got your blue, red, and black. Again, that's on this kit. It may differ on your kit, so do follow your instructions if you go to the link and find that I sent you to a different kit. Anyway, here's the fusible link. It's got a fuse in it already, and then again, everything just plugs and plays. That ground wire is just screws to the body on a good ground surface. So I'm going to go ahead and start wiring this from, I'm thinking of maybe kind of dropping it down in the area it's going to go, maybe kind of zip tying it to hold it, but not really tucking it away yet until I get the wiring or the connections where I want them. So I want to make sure that the wires are going to connect here. I want to make sure that the switch is going to make it into the truck. I'm thinking about running it through there. There's a hole right here. It really needs a boot over it, but there's a hole right there I could drop the wiring into. And then I could run over here, and it'll drop out underneath the dash. And I was going to use this toggle switch because this truck used to belong to the county and they had it for probably flashers. But it doesn't illuminate. The fog light switch does illuminate when it's on. And that way you know that the lights are on the fog lights. And this way I wouldn't know, and if I left them on, I could have a dead battery. So I'm probably going to just leave that alone and make a new cutout or a new place to mount the new switch. But I got plenty of places to do that. So I will show you a clip of what I ended up doing. You use your imagination and do whatever you feel comfortable with. All right, on to the next. All right, got them working. I'm just going to tighten up these wires, make sure there's no connections on the hot wire positives or even the ground. I just want to make sure that it's not touching anything. It's tied up tight so the vibration won't allow it to move around and actually short out. That wire is basically going to get just zip tied. I got zip ties back up to the frame somewhere. Just got one wire running in here. That's my power wire coming out. I just ran it inside the wall. I need to get some kind of a boot or something to put around that, but for right now, again, it's fused. Sorry about the motorcycle. It's important to fuse your wire at the battery. So if anything ever shorts out in this system, that your aftermarket wiring it kicks that fuse versus burning a wire up or who knows. So anyway, then I got the power wire that's coming from the battery going in there as well to the switch. I'll show you that in just a minute, but for right now, the power wire is just ran over and zip tied to the harness right here. I'm going to trim that little pigtail, and then it's running out here to zip tied to the battery, and then I just connected it to a loop. That's the power. Let's go in here and shut this off. Okay. That turns it off. That turns it on. Now, I wanted to actually put that thing in there in that hole, and it fit, but it's so deep it ran into something behind it, and I had enough wires that I could have moved it up somewhere else and not had that problem. Try to think before you do when it comes to installing a switch. If you're going to put it in something, make sure there's nothing behind it, but you know, that you could damage, but also make sure there's nothing behind it that's going to be an obstruction to keep this from going in. So I zip tied this to keep these cables from coming loose, kind of makes them one. I'm going to trim this as well. I ran the ground behind this to the fuse box bolt, tighten that back up, and just use the original retainer. But there we go. And hopefully nobody hit that. That's pretty durable. I pallet drilled a couple holes, put the screws in there. It's real nice and tight. Let's go check, make sure it turned off. If it didn't, I just invented free power. So anyway, looks like it did. So I think that wraps it up. Again, like and subscribe. I'm trying to build my channel on how to do certain things. This is one of them. Improvise, change it the way you want. But this just gives you a basic of how you can install some floodlights on your truck. And there you go. Thanks for watching. Check out my other channels. Talk to you later.